All right, greetings. We're going to go ahead and get started. Councilman London, if you would open us up, please, sir. Okay, perfect. Fair enough.
Thank you, God, that we're here to fulfill your purpose and your plan for us all collectively. Praying now that the done decently and in order. In advance for giving Lord praise for it. Thank you for Mary's family, our council, and everyone that will be conducting business with the city. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen.
Let us pledge. Ready? Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Pastor McClure. All right, roll call. Councilman London.
Present.
Councilwoman Cuellar.
Here.
Councilman Box. Councilman Sims.
Here.
And myself here as well. Reminder, let's make sure our microphones are on and that we're close enough to where it's going to make a difference. At this time, I would look for an approval of the minutes from the regular city council meeting on September 3rd of 24.
Motion to approve the minutes from September 3rd, 2024.
Second.
Motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. That being done, at this time, I would look for a motion for the approval of the current bills for payment.
Council President Spivey, I have some handouts to give to the group, which I won't be discussing. I'm just going to hand them out to the group. And if you will kindly take one. Make sure our city treasurer's got one also. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see here. Councilman Cuellar, the item that me and you spoke about briefly,
Yeah,
where is that on this page?
it's on first page, second item.
Thank you very much.
And Lee, he'll be discussing that one with you. Thank you.
Since we have Councilwoman Cuellar's report that we can review, do we have a motion to approve the bills?
Make a motion, we approve the bills in the amount of $1,511,271.66 with items under review that will be paid and corrected later if needed.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No noes, no abstentions. Fair enough. We'll go ahead and get into our reports. Mayor, you're up first. You have the floor.
All right. Thank you, Council President. I want to thank everybody that has come out tonight to be able to hear us deliberate on the business of the city. On Thursday, September the 19th, we're having Municipal Court Amnesty Day. If you want to be able to get a fresh start, or if you have some obligations that a court order that are outstanding in the city of Irondale, we invite you to come and to participate in Municipal Court Amnesty Day, Thursday, September the 19th. I believe is at 9 o'clock in the morning. Also, we are getting ready for National Night Out, which is hosted by the Irondale First Responders. That's going to be Tuesday, October the 1st, 2024. And the time is 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. It's going to be held at the Irondale Civic Center. Free food, fellowship, and fun. On Saturday, September the 28th, we're going to celebrate Irondale's 137th birthday celebration. Music festival, Saturday the 28th. Gates will open at 2 p.m. The show would start maybe at 2:45, but no later than 3 o'clock. We have some outstanding groups that's going to participate in this event. We have Ruben Studdard, who's going to be the headliner, Kirk Whalen, Ken Ford, Emily Joseph Band, and Element 11. It's going to be at Beacon Park, 5309 Beacon Drive, Irondale, Alabama. No tickets needed. Just show up to enjoy the free show. Also, on October the 5th, we're going to celebrate Yo Amo Day in the city of Irondale. It's set up for October the 5th from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Main Street, or the Main Street out in front of City Hall. There's going to be food trucks, free to the first 300 guests. We're going to have the mechanical bull, which every time I get on the mechanical bull, they seem to speed it up, so I get thrown off of it pretty quickly. Miss Early did it to me the last year. She's sitting back there in the back. So if you all want to take care of her from putting y'all mayor through some pain, we can do it. There's going to be live bands, dancing performances, free Mexican popsicles. We'll have the train that's going to be out there, and there's also going to be games. The final thing on the calendar is we're getting ready to have, I want to say, our 6th Citizen Engagement Institute. If you really want to know what's going on in the city, I would invite you to attend this class. It lasts for 6 weeks. 5 weeks, we provide educational information from the fire department, police department, admin. It's really a good event if you want to know what's going on in the city. And then on the last class, we have graduation. Even if you don't want to enjoy the classes, the food is always great. It's provided by local restaurants in the city of Irondale. I want to encourage everybody to sign up. We usually average anywhere between 25 to 30 individuals. And if you want to participate in this class, the web address is tinyurl.com/CEI 2024. First class begins October the 3rd, and graduation is scheduled for November the 7th. Also, I wanted to be able to give a report on our water system. I have several different things that I'm going to cover about what's going on in the water department. Number one, I wanted to talk about the rate study that we approved. The capital plan is expected to be finalized in a few weeks. Jackson Thornton is proceeding with the next steps to make sure that it's going to be completed soon. Also, I wanted to give you an update on Bramblewood. We're putting a pumping station in that community because they have low water pressure. Not only will it provide water to Bramblewood, but it will also make sure that entire Carl Daly Road, that their pressure is improved. We're working through some issues with Jefferson County. Our city attorneys are working through and ironing those things out. Hopefully we will have that issue solved very soon to be able to bring it to the council for a vote. Also, we're getting ready to do some tank washing. We have 4 tanks that are in the city of Irondale. The estimated cost is about $50,000. I believe that we have 2 of them that we are projected to be able to do within the next year. April and Lauren also working on that. The building design is moving forward, and we are expecting to have something by early 25. I wanted to be able to give an update on PFAS. I want to make sure that everybody got their pen, so when you leave, you can write down the correct information, but also you can post the correct information at the same time. I think I did a reel. I'll say it again. We are in compliance. We are in compliance. We are in compliance. I don't know how many times I have to keep saying that we are in compliance. The minimum contaminated levels is 4 parts per trillion. For PFOA, we are 1.1, and for PFOS, we are 2.6. This information is collected by Guardian. Then Guardian sends this information to 2 labs that are approved by ADEM. ADEM sends the results back to Guardian. Guardian provides the city with the results. And that is the process. Do I need to say those figures again? Did everybody caught it? Well, I'll just say it just to make sure. PFOA levels, 1.1. PFOS, 2.6. The minimum contaminated levels, according to the EPA as of April the 15th, is 4 parts per trillion. If the EPA says that it's 4 parts per trillion, we are at 2.6. What does that mean? That means that we are in compliance. Please, when you report it going forward, I hope that you put that the water system is in compliance. Also, we are, let me see, PFAS removal goal. The city goal is to be able to produce water that meets EPA levels by 2029, but we are already in compliance with that. Well 5, we are looking at placing a camera in there to determine the possibility of where the leaks is coming from. Is it around the casing? But we don't know until we camera it to be able to find out what's going on. Well 6 and 7 is going up under the granular activated carbon. It has now been in effect for 7 weeks without a breakthrough. What that means is since that contraption has been in place, there is no PFAS that has leaked through the carbon for the last 7 weeks. We're still continuing to run the tests, and we hope that it will continue to hold up. The RO pilot overview, the RO pilot is still on schedule for October the 21st. That is the start date. And the final thing is the city is currently looking for SR funding to deal with the pre-emergent contaminants that we have in our water supply system. And this will be for PFAS and pilot testing, as well as PFAS temporary treatment. That concludes my report for tonight, Council President.
Thank you, sir. Councilman London?
First of all, good evening. I don't really have anything. See, we got a long agenda. I don't want to hold the people hostage tonight, but glad to see y'all. I hope we can get through this council meeting tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Cuellar?
Good evening, everyone. Got a packed house. Thank you so much for being here, especially our ROTC young men and women that are joining us tonight. Mayor Stewart, I want to thank you so much for providing us with updated water system information. I think that'll help our residents, and we should continue to move forward with the pilot testing that's going on. And as a water committee chair, I cannot be more thankful to you, sir, for updating everyone. I had one request at our last council meeting from our council president, where I'm going to be sending this to him, and it concerned some reports that I gave out at some meetings that I had with the Irondale Exchange Club, as well as some residents that had invited me to meet with them and give them some updates on the city's finances. So I'm turning those reports over to our council president so that it is on the record that those reports have been turned over. The last thing I wanted to talk about was at our work session meeting, and this is for our council members, we had discussed future work sessions. Our council president stated that he would welcome any opportunities for additional work sessions in the future. And it seemed we were discussing, last night was really a great work session. We were able to cover our council agenda, and we were able to also cover the remaining questions on our budget. So it really worked out very well. And Monday appears to be, because Tuesday is a definite no-go, to have a pre-council before the council meeting. So we were looking at Monday, because the Thursday before the council meeting on Tuesday, it puts our city treasurer under the gun to get us the agenda so that we can meet for our council work session. So Monday appears to be the best day for us to meet. And I'm here to ask the council members if you are good with having a work session on the Monday before we have our council meeting. Now, Councilor Box has stated that this could be a challenge for him. I stated, we could update you on what took place at our work session. This way he knows what was covered. But if we can have 3 council members, we have a quorum, we can have a work session. So gentlemen, are you good with having a work session at 6 o'clock or even 5:30 if someone wants 5:30 to go through our council agenda? And this way we don't have long drawn out meetings asking all our questions. So I'm going to pose that now and ask if we can start doing this the Monday before the Tuesday council meeting.
Any initial thoughts, Councilman London?
Yeah, I wasn't asked, so Monday's off for me. That's my Bible study night,
Okay.
so
Okay.
that's been off for about
I know that's
10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Councilman Box, do you have any initial thoughts? We can always take this offline.
You know, I think the work sessions are a great thing, but I think we need to look at it a little bit more, because rather than jumping right into having a work session every council meeting, maybe we need to have work sessions. Were you talking about every?
No,
council
only if
meeting?
we have a lot of items on the agenda.
Define a
and-
lot.
If we have about, it depends on what item it is. It is going to be a
Right.
complex like the budget, these kinds of things. But if you've got resolutions, simple, 1 or 2 ordinances, and you've got a total of, let's say, 12 or 14 items on the agenda, we should have a work session to discuss them. If you've only got 4 items on the agenda, there's no need for a work session. There's no need for that. But if we've got lots of them, which we have had over the last 3-4 months, we've had at least 20 of them. We should have a work session to discuss them, and it doesn't hold our residents here until 8:30, 9 o'clock at night to cover all these. So if we can go through it like we did last night, we went through it within, 30 minutes? That was a max. And we got a lot of our questions and was able to share some of that with y'all. And again, we could do that, share that, what the Q&A was, and this way all the council members have this information. And we're ready to go for a council meeting.
So continue with my comments. I can see the validity in what you're saying, Councilwoman Queller, but as right now, we need a work session on the maps on the wall. And that needs to be the only item in that work session, and all counselors need to be present, because just an update on what the 3 or 4 counselors came to a conclusion on doesn't include that 5th counselor. So I would definitely like to see work sessions scheduled on an as-needed basis. So if that's what you're saying, absolutely. But then we have to kind of visit it on saying, we don't need a council agenda to schedule a work session on the redistricting. We can schedule that right now. It doesn't have to be on a Monday. It could be on a Wednesday. It could be on a Thursday. So let's kind of eat the elephant one bite at a time. That's our next big thing to schedule a work session on. And then we can move forward on a case-by-case basis on what the agendas look like.
Fair enough. Any initial thoughts, Councilman Sims?
Lots. I agree with a lot of what Councilor Box said. It should be situationally dependent. If there's an item that we need to actually get together and discuss, we need to plan that ahead. Whoever we're going to ask questions needs to be here. We had a lot of questions last night. We had no answers. We're going to say a lot of the same thing tonight that we said last night. So part to me, I see a lot of it is just doing the same thing over and over. I don't see the need to have a meeting to have a meeting. We're going to spend an hour here and an hour there, 2 hours here. Let's just have 1 2-hour meeting. My thoughts. Again, if we're not going to have 5 counselors here at a pre-council, I talked about both things I've got on the agenda tonight, last night. But I said the same thing tonight. Because people, they weren't here. So I just see it as double work. Again, we got to talk about that. We're going to get it on the calendar whenever it is. I don't care. We need to discuss the maps. There are going to be things we have to get together. But again, if we don't have the experts that can answer our questions and all of us here, what are we doing?
Fair enough. In order to schedule one for Monday, we have to get it to you by Friday morning, 24 hours. All right. So I'm good with work sessions. I agree with a lot of things that I've heard, pros, cons. I get it. If it's going to make Tuesday night easier, I'm good with a work session before the council meeting. If it's going to just be a meeting to talk about a meeting and the same things are said over again and it's duplicated work, then I'm going to fall out of favor on it. So this is my commitment. I will have my laptop on until 10 o'clock on Thursday. If there is the need to have a work session, I am turning it off at 10:01. So if there's something on the agenda that you want to have a work session about, ping it to me, and then I'll get with the group, and we just have to have it on Lee's desk, sent to her by Friday morning, which I know is going to require a little bit of extra work on your part, and I apologize for that.
Council President?
Yes, sir.
I would say that it need to be in by Thursday evening because Lee doesn't work on Fridays.
Fair enough. Okay. Let's continue it offline. I see
Yes,
a path
thank you.
forward. We'll find a way to agree on something. And I do agree that we can call work sessions as needed for particular subjects,
Right.
like what was talked about with the redistricting. I'm totally in favor of having a meeting just on that. But I enjoyed being able to go through the agenda before we actually had to go through the agenda. I found benefit in it. So for what it is.
So, Co-Council President, would it be appropriate now to go ahead and talk about a work session for the redistricting, or should we do that when we're deliberating the ordinance? Or
Let's do it when we're deliberating the ordinance.
Very good, thank you.
Yep. Does that conclude your report, Councilwoman
Yes,
Quayle?
it does. Thank you, Council President.
Councilman Box, your
Yeah, I
report?
kind of interjected on Councilwoman Quayle or something.
It was a discussion,
Yeah,
so
we
yeah.
can- we can move on.
All right. Councilman Sims?
Oh, are
Yeah,
you?
no, you're good.
Oh,
I piggybacked with Cindy.
thank you everyone for coming out. I got to attend the September 11th ceremony the Marine Corps Junior ROTC did at Shades Valley last week. Seems like it was forever ago. So thank y'all for that. I know y'all are going to come up on one of these items, but thank you. Y'all did a great job. We'll just get into it.
Small report. Thank you all for joining us. Packed house tonight, so we appreciate your presence. Got the opportunity to visit a grand opening at an overlanding company just off of 3rd Avenue South here. I think it's 21st and 3rd. They kind of rebranded themselves, but turns out they'd actually been here for years and never even noticed it. So if you know anything about overlanding, they construct very large off-road trailers to pull behind your vehicle. Big tents, all kinds of really cool gadgets and stuff like that. But what's neat about it is what makes them unique is that they deal with a lot of people that live on the West Coast. So we really haven't heard a whole bunch about them. But they're trying to, they're working with a lot of brands to try to establish a kind of a presence in the Southeast. But they're an international company. So just another international company that calls Irondale home. Check them out. They've actually got a retail space now, just off of, like I said, 21st and 3rd South. It's an overlanding company. Really, really, really cool stuff. So I see it as a problem financially for myself, but that's just me speaking. So hopefully you won't have that problem. So cool people doing really, really neat work. So just check them out. That concludes my report for the evening. All right. At this time, we will accept public comments to the council on non-agenda items, and we'll be enforcing the 2-minute timer. And I need sheets filled out with name and addresses. Thank you, Lee. So any comments on non-agenda items?
Judy Wilson, 3510 Belmont Road. I live in, my husband and I live in District 3, and Cindy is our council person for the district. And appreciate how she stays in touch, that she asks questions, and I mentioned to you before, maybe it's just women. My husband says I ask too many questions, so that's what, I'm not asking questions tonight, I'm just making statements. But I thank her for the work that she's done, and for each of you, the other men, the work that you do representing your districts. And I also have a little bird report tonight. You know I love birds. And we had a pileated woodpecker. Do I get started over?
I did hit the pause button.
Pardon?
I hit the pause button.
You didn't fall for it?
I hit the pause button.
Oh, thank you. I'm a little hard of hearing too because
Understood.
I'm old.
Proceed.
Just a little bird report. I was so thrilled the other night or morning. As I said, we sit on our deck in the morning and have coffee and listen, watch the birds and listen to them. And we had a pileated woodpecker. I heard it. I mean, if you ever hear it, it's very unusual. And he's like the woody woodpecker, huge. And we heard him, and it's like, oh my goodness. So we started looking for him, and we found him up in the tree, and he flew around a little bit, and then he came back. And if y'all have never had a pileated woodpecker, look for them. They have a very distinct call. So that's my report tonight.
Fair
Thank
enough.
you.
Any other comments on non-agenda items?
My name is Gretchen Thiel. I live on 2nd Avenue North. I just want to comment on spending. And maybe not all the spending is completely necessary. But I spend a lot of time right now in Tarrant. And the city of Tarrant does nothing for their residents. The industry there is incredible. They've got business, they've got tax-paying businesses, but they do nothing for their residents. And nobody wants to live there. Thank you.
Any other comments on non-agenda items?
I'm Mary Scherer, 5276 Amber Hills Road. I'm just commenting on ClearGov. I've been traveling and happened to be in a city and thought, wow, this got some pretty cool things here. And I looked online. I thought, well, let me just see what their government, what is this city built of? It's a tourism county. It's Cody, Wyoming. But they actually use ClearGov. And I know you have said that we're going to be implementing that. And it is really cool. You can see budgets for 5 years, capital budgets. You can see all kinds of things. So we really look forward to us implementing that. And if you're just interested and want to be nosy, Cody, Wyoming.
Fair enough.
Thank you.
Any other comments on non-agenda items?
Kim McDaniel, 4025 Rock Ridge Road. And I'm never going to be able to say what I want to say in 2 minutes. And but I'm going to try. And I just want to say that I told my husband that I was coming to City Hall. I said, I've got to get up and get ready. And for those of y'all who don't know, my husband has Alzheimer's. And he said, why are you going down there? And I said, I'm going to go down there and tell them to behave. And he said, well, you don't. And so I guess that's, I guess it's what the pot call of the kettle black. But no, I just wanted to, and and after that, I got to thinking about how much my husband loves Irondale. I mean, he's been here his whole life, except when he was in the military. He served in the fire department. And, he's one of those who, like me, grew up going to the ballpark and that sort of thing. And, I mean, we had a true community. And I know that's what we all want to get back to. And so I'm going to ask you all that as you make decisions, as we talk to each other, and as we talk on Facebook, and as we do the things that we do in our community, first ask yourself, am I doing this because I love Irondale? And, and which I know people didn't like it when John said it, but if you don't love Irondale, don't serve in our community. Don't speak on Facebook. Leave and go somewhere where you can love the place, because we want our ballparks. We want this spending because we want it to be the way we remember it, the way that other cities are. And I know that when we did the auto mall, I personally kept thinking we are really making a big mistake spending all this money. I was wrong. We may be, hey, those of us who want to spend this money now, we may be wrong. But you know what? I didn't let it impact my relationships with those that were for the auto mall. We disagreed, but no one has had more grace and love in this city than I have. And that's what we've got to get back to. And I want us to start on Facebook. And I'm asking all the city councilors and everybody here, no more of the negativity on that page.
Thank you, Ms. Kim.
No more. Is that
Thank
all
you.
I can say?
Yes, ma'am.
I tried getting him to let me use somebody else's time and he wouldn't do it. So, I'm not happy with David. He won't let me do it.
There was a specific situation around why I allowed that the last time. Contrary to popular belief, I do try to be consistent. Thank you. Do we have any other comments on non-agenda items? Okay. No more comments on non-agenda items. Fair enough. Moving along. At this time, we will go ahead and look for any reports of any boards or non-council committees. Yes, sir. You're a committee. You're good.
Okay. My name is Mike Davis. I'm the president of the Greater Irondale Chamber of Commerce. It's been a little bit since I've given an update, but I wanted to come out tonight and give you a short update. It does look like a long agenda, so I'm going to brief this up as quickly as I can. Tonight, we've got some board members that are present. We've got Pastor Mike McClure here. We've got Carolyn Jones and Kevin Geiser back here. We appreciate the support that we receive from the city and the city council. Without y'all, we would struggle to do the things that we're able to do. Some of the things that we're still doing is we have biweekly luncheons at Pine Tree Country Club. We've had several ribbon cuttings. A few of them are from the UPS store, the Nail Stories, and Hilltop Liquor, which are all up in the new public shopping center. We have also connected with the fire and police departments this year, and they're doing what is called Businesses on the Beat. And so what it is in Irondale, we did one, by the way, I also work at Cox Pools in Irondale. It's kind of a plug, but in our area, we're right across from 84 Lumber. So we had the first Businesses on the Beat. And so the surrounding businesses came, they met the fire department, they met the police department. If they have questions, concerns, who to talk to, if they have issues, problems like that from businesses, that's what we're doing along with the fire and police departments. There's another one coming up that's going to be right down at Iron Beach, which is right there where Dollar General is in that area. So we're expecting about 20 to 25 people to come to that Business on the Beat. Okay. Businesses. Thank you, Mr. Mike. Also, upcoming events that we've got, we're going to be doing the gathering at the train depot. It's really for local businesses. What we think we're supposed to do as a chamber is connect businesses to the community. So what we're doing is we're going to have a business after hours event. It's going to be right down here at the train depot. We're going to have food, drinks, and things for businesses to get to know them better and what their needs are from us as a chamber. Then also last year we had our first fall festival. We're going to have that again this year. It was a great turnout last year. We probably had 500 people show up to that fall festival. And that was a way for us to give back to businesses and get the businesses connected to the community. So the businesses actually have tables there. They're able to talk to the parents. The kids can have candy, have fun with games and things like that. So that's coming up as well. And then we'll also be participating in the Christmas parade. Okay. That's my chamber update. Real quick, I want to switch. I'm also head of the abatement board, and I've never given an update on the abatement board, but I saw something earlier on Facebook and I didn't get back on it because I've been busy this week at work. Somebody posted about a property. And I think it was on 4th Avenue or something, but I'll find out and I'll get with Greg. But I wanted to let everybody know if you have any questions. So the abatement board, we're basically an arm that connects with the city inspector, Greg Cochran. So if a building is in disrepair, whether it's residential or commercial, if it's in disrepair, we kind of help facilitate getting that fixed. And there was a property that was on Facebook this week, and I didn't respond kind of on purpose because I didn't have the information with me at that time. But if anybody has any questions about any properties that are in disrepair, if you'll just contact Greg Cochran the city inspector, he'll certainly be able to help, and then that'll become on the agenda for the abatement board. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments from any boards or non-council committees? All right. We're going to go ahead and move into the deliberation phase for the agenda items. We've got several items on consent, so we'll on the proposed consent agenda, so we'll move through that. Item number 1 would be resolved that Resolution 2024 R155 declares certain items from the Irondale Civic Center as surplus and authorizes the disposal of such property by Mayor James D. Stewart Jr. or his designee through the sale at govdeals.com. Looks like 10 carts for tables and 100 6-foot folding tables. Councilman London, any questions on this?
Well, I did have one question. I'm not sure how good a shape these tables are in.
They're old.
They're old tables. 'Cause my
They're
suggestion-
old and in disrepair. That's why Brad is asking to surplus it.
Okay, all right, that's my question.
Okay.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
Excuse me. For the benefit of everyone here, these tables are really in bad shape, and they're not able to be recycled. They're very, very heavy. Would be very hard for anyone to use those. I have no questions on this. Thank you.
Councilman Box?
No, I'd already spoke to Chief Doss as well. Thank you.
Councilman Sims?
No questions.
And no questions myself as well. Do we agree to keep this on consent?
Yes.
Council President,
Yes, sir.
I wanted to ask you if it would be okay with you and the body if you could move the ROTC up to allow them to be next so that they could go home and get prepared for school instead of having to sit through this entire agenda.
That's a totally fair question here.
Okay.
So we're going to go ahead and hop down to item number 15 real quick. Thank you, Mayor.
And Council President, they have a spokesperson, so we will just ask if the spokesperson would come to the front and bring the rest of the troops with them.
Sure. I'll go ahead and read the item, guys, but come on up and we'll defer to you here momentarily. So like I said, we're jumping to item number 15 on consent. Resolve the resolution 2024 R169 authorizes the payment of public funds to the Shades Valley High School in the amount of $3,500 from the 23-24 FY discretionary fund of Mayor James D. Stewart Jr. to be used exclusively for the ROTC program at Shades Valley High School. Does anybody, you're going to speak on it? Please proceed.
Well, I feel the money that we are asking for the purpose is to fund our program, not only our program, but a special event that we host every year for our program to celebrate the birthday of the Marine Corps. And the reason we are asking for this money is because it's very important to our program, as well as
You're good, man.
You're doing good.
Yeah.
for me, I've been in this program for 4 years, and each year we have this event. It's called the Marine Corps Ball. Happens specifically between November and December, and each year we've tried to make it as special as we can. And I'm just hoping that this year, because for me, I'm the main one in charge of this event, so I just want to make it more and more special because I really care about this program a lot, and it's changed my life for the better, and it's changed all of my friends' lives for the better. Everything about it has made me more confident in myself physically and mentally, and I'm just hoping, very much hoping, that with this money I can aim for my goal that I've been planning since my freshman year of making the best Marine Corps birthday that I can for my cadets and the cadets to come and my friends. and I thank you for letting us come here today, because it is an honor to be here today, especially with all the people here. You know, you kind of made us skip them in line. I kind of feel bad. I'm sorry. But I'm just really glad to be here today. And I never thought I would be here, honestly, doing something like this. It's so nervous wreck. I mean, there's the mayor right there and every member of City Hall, but I don't have much to say, but I do thank you for being here. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Before we move into a photo op, Councilman Lennon, any question?
I do have a request. 'Cause I know we have some military people in here. I know we got 2 on council, right? Here. Anyone else that's here? Military, got 1 back there, got 1 back there, 2 back there. When we have this photo op, Mayor, if you don't mind, allow them to come up and get in the picture with them. That'd be okay?
Yeah.
That's my request.
Okay. Councilman Cuellar?
Council President Spivey, I spoke with one of the young men here, and this item on the agenda, I attended their 135th anniversary ball that they had last year. And Councilman Sims told us last night during our work session that you've got a lot more students that are involved in your program now as well. And I'm looking at my discretionary funds and I'm just like, okay, there's another way that we can work with this to help them. We got $3,500. I asked Councilman Box, he's got some funding too. But you know, we've got some funding in our community programs. Is it possible to put $2,500 in there from the community programs to help them in this effort? I'm maxed on mine. I don't have any more. I would love to give them to you, but I don't. I will have some in October, but I don't have any now. And I know that other councils have done this before in the past where we take some from community programs and provide them some additional funding. So I'd like to ask if we can do that tonight.
I would defer, since we're talking about the budget, I would defer to Mayor on that.
I would say since this is more education than it is a community event, if you all would like to take an additional $2,500 out of that account to be able to provide it to our young cadets, I would say that that would be a great deal to do.
So the proposed line item is
Education.
education?
To
Okay,
be able to use
fair enough.
education. Yes.
Very good.
Does that suit?
Yes, it works.
Okay. Councilman Box?
Yeah, no, that's great. Thank you, Mayor, for pointing out our options that might even work out better. I'd like to go ahead and I believe I have at least 500 left of my discretionary funds. Put that with it as well.
Okay. Councilman Sims?
First of all, Simplify.
Simplify.
Thanks for joining the program. And who all are seniors? Juniors? Sophomores? No freshmen. Okay. Any of y'all planning on going into the Marine Corps? Hoorah. So again, I think it's a great program that's been built. I'm also, all my funds are in the item just before this. So I agree with Councilor Cuellar. If we can move over some from the education fund, then that's awesome, and fully support it.
Copy that. I just thank you guys for coming out tonight. Thank you for joining us, and I hope you guys have a fantastic event.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Do we want to go ahead and bring some of our previous, stay up here, guys. Yep.
Oh, I thought it was just the military guys. Everybody, okay.
It's 15.
Thank you, Bob.
Go ahead and let these guys shuffle out. Okay, Council, do we agree to keep that on consent with the addition from the education fund?
Yes.
Yes.
I think it just be introduced accordingly when.
So it was
I think it's 65.
the original 35, 25, and 5, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, since we're cutting this on the floor, we're not actually going to introduce it. It stays on consent. So,
Yeah.
Legal, are we doing everything considering we're not going to re-speak this or vote on it? It's just as noted? Okay. Perfect. All right. Item number 2, resolve the resolution 2024 R156 authorizes the selection of Plan Blank for redistricting to move forward according to the applicable redistricting process. So this came on the agenda, and it's basically time for us to just begin the conversation. So, Mayor, do you want to kind of open us up? I know you have a guest with you.
Yes. I just, as Council President said, that I wanted to be able to put this on the agenda to be able to start the conversation. We started about, it seemed like it's been years ago, but at least a year when we began to go through this process. And you all are familiar with anytime you start something and then you set it down for a long period of time, you almost have to restart the process. Tonight, that's what I wanted to do, just to begin the conversation. I know that you all plan on scheduling a work session to be able to deal with it, but tonight we do have the expert in the room. That's Mr. Brett Isom from the Regional Planning Commission. I would like for Brett to be able to come up. And at this time, if you all have any questions that you would like to ask him, I would say go ahead and do it at this time so we can begin to formulate whatever you all may want to see at the work session. So we're not trying to have the work session and then we got to go do some other stuff to be able to make some changes. I just thought that since it was on the agenda, we would briefly discuss it tonight. After we have finished the discussing it, I will postpone it to a later date, and then we'll just go from there. Brett, if you're in the, I think I saw you sitting back there on the back row. Okay.
Yeah, it's been a little while since I've been here. Last time left off.
I was gonna let them bring the microphone over there to you, or do you want to speak from the microphone? You just speak from it from there. Okay.
The last time had dropped off 2 additional options. It's options 4 and 5. The first 3, I don't think were particularly favorable to the council. 4 and 5, I think were appreciated a little bit more. Think maybe there was even consensus growing on one of them, but just trying to get this moved along as much as possible. If there's a work session that you want to schedule, I'm happy to come, and we can focus wholly on that and answer any questions you might have.
Councilman London, any question for the gentleman?
No, I mean, 4 and 5 was done by 2 other councilmen, but that's not my decision right now. I really hadn't looked at it about probably in a long time. But just ready to get to a work session so we can get it on the board and find out what's best for the city.
Okay. Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes, Mr. Isom, right? That's your last name?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much for being here this evening. One of the things that I did in preparing was looking at what some other municipalities have done. And the city of Prattville had a great approach that they took. And I'm wondering if, and I know that their timeline is a little bit, they've had this since, I think it was February of last year. And so we're under some time constraints. We've got to have this done by February. Is that correct?
6 months before
6
your
months
election.
before, right. So they had their community involved in it, which we hope to also have. But what I liked about what Prattville is doing is that they're allowing their community to communicate with them. There's an input form, a public input form that they can send for those that cannot, if they're disabled and not able to come to look at the maps. They're available on their website, and then they have them fill out some input forms. And I'm going to share the Prattville information with the rest of our council. And are you able to do that for our residents? Is that possible to have this done so that we can have as
Generally-
much participation?
Generally, when there's a single option narrowed down to, that's going to be what's going to come forward for the public hearing. There is an online map created that the city can place on their website. The functionality can include some things to accommodate public input.
Okay, that's great. I would love it if we could do that for our residents. And if you could just let us know, when would we have to have this done to enable you to provide our residents with this opportunity?
It wouldn't take me terribly long at all, so long as I know which to go with. So
Okay.
if you select option either 4 or 5, move forward. I'd like to get the final map produced at the parcel level. So one of the attachments for the ordinance needs to include a pin listing by block number, tract, and district that will also go to the city clerk for her use when it's time to vote.
Very good. Thank you. That's all the questions I have.
Councilman Box?
Mainly a couple of comments on there. I think that public input would be great on the existing maps we've got. If those are not on a website that the individuals could go to that may not be able to come to City Hall, I'd just encourage everyone to take a look at these, see what you think, and contact your representative. That's one of the best ways you can have input on the options that are hanging up there. I believe number 1 is existing. Is that correct, Mr. Ison?
The first one on the wall
Yes,
is existing.
that's the
Yes.
existing, that is the existing districts as they are today. The others are options that are put up. So if you can't come to City Hall, then if there is a way that those could be put on those options could be put on the website for input, I think that'd be great. But other than that, one of the best ways is take a look at them and contact your existing representative. Thank you, Council President.
Yes, sir. Councilman Sims?
I don't have any new questions. I think most of my questions got answered in 2022 when we last picked this up or set this down, actually. So just looking forward to digging the maps back out and dusting them off and getting back into it.
And I don't have any questions for you at this time. We're so far kind of out from the process that I don't have anything to say at this time. But I appreciate your presence tonight, and I appreciate your willingness to work with us and help us through this process.
Sure. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Thanks, sir.
So all that being said, obviously we appreciate him.
So I guess what I would ask, Council President, what I addressed a little bit before the meeting, is if we could go ahead and look at setting a work session. I know we're about to reestablish the council meeting in October, but would we consider having a work session on one of the Tuesdays in October that is not already, that we don't set for a council meeting or is not already set for a council meeting, to go with this sooner rather than later?
I'm fine with that. I would love to see it moved forward significantly by the end of October. So yeah, so I mean, I'm fine with we know Mondays can be difficult for Councilman London. I don't know how everybody's other Tuesdays are. I know we kind of plan around the first and third Tuesday. I don't necessarily plan around the second and fourth, but I'm open to, so I'm assuming you're advocating the 8th or the 22nd?
Well, if we move the first council meeting in October, do we know what day we're looking at moving that to?
Not yet.
So
Second or third, probably.
Second.
For the October and November meeting, the three of us last night discussed the Wednesday or Thursday after the regularly scheduled Tuesday.
Very well. So how about the 15th one would actually be the council meeting, so how about the 22nd, Tuesday the 22nd?
I'm good with that. What say y'all?
I'm good with that.
October the 22nd to have a work session
Yes.
about redistricting?
Does that, Mayor, do you know if that fits your schedule, sir?
I don't know, but I defer to whatever works for you all.
Thank you, Mayor.
Councilman, how do you feel about October
5
22nd?
o'clock.
I'd prefer no earlier than 5:30.
5:30.
Yeah,
5:30.
that work?
5:30 work.
Okay. Councilman Cuellar, 22nd, 5:30.
Yes.
Councilman Vox, 5:30,
Yes,
22nd.
please.
Councilman Sims.
It should work.
Okay.
All right, let me, one point. I think I heard Brett say, I think I heard this. I want to make sure I heard them say this. Request that Councilman Cuellar had about Prattville, whatever they were doing down there, that he could do that if we narrow it down to one.
Correct.
Did I hear that right?
That's what I heard.
Yeah, because having input on 6 maps, way too much.
5 maps.
So we'll have to decide at that, we're deciding at that work session, am I correct? To come to one, right? That's what we're deciding at the work
I'm
session.
getting some feedback from Councilwoman Cuellar.
At the work session that we're having,
Right.
we're narrowing these 5 or 6, whatever, down to one on that night. So we
I
can
would
put it on the
love
agenda.
I would love for that to happen. I
So
don't
we
know
can
if we're
give it
going to
back
be
to
able
Brett.
to.
So we can get it back to Brett, so we can do what he has to do, and then we vote on it.
I would love for that to occur.
That's the goal, right?
That would be the goal, as
Council.
far as I see it.
Yeah.
Councilman Cuellar, you had some feedback on that?
Well, I was saying that the 22nd's fine. If we're getting feedback from our residents and we're ready to move in that direction, I'm fine with that. Don't have a problem with it. And this way he would have something to get out there for the rest of the residents to take a look at. That can happen, but we need to give our residents time to look at the maps. If we can make them available on the website, if we can let them know that we've got the maps here where they can look at them, if we can do everything we can to enable them to look at them and let us know.
Yeah.
Their feedback is very important because that's who we will represent. And I'd like to have as much participation from our residents as possible to enable
understand.
us to make the best decision.
And we'd be giving, if we got the word out on this, obviously I know this is being watched online. There's always a lot of feedback from online, so we know that there's people out seeing it. We're going to have to spread the word. That gives a month.
5 weeks, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that gives over a month, so I think that's
Right.
pretty good timing for us to digest it and for the residents to digest it. And to Councilman London's point, convene at 5:30 on October 22nd and make a run-in on this.
Because I think, between now and then, the council can have a good idea which way we want to go. Mm-hmm. If you have, say, if I have one and you have one, and you have one, whatever, say if we have 3 that night, then we make a decision on one of those on that night.
I think we all need to make that commitment to
I think we
ourselves.
need to make that commitment for the 22nd
I think that's fair.
to make a move.
I think that's fair. All right, let it be.
Thank you, Council President.
Still need to set a public hearing date
Mhm.
Right.
before.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Correct.
Yes, sir.
That's correct. So, well, I guess we need to ask Brett, is that a good day, the 22nd, good for you? Okay.
Thank you. Okay.
So just kind of reiterating, maybe beating a horse that's kind of tired, I'll say. But ladies and gentlemen, that gives you until the 22nd to contact your council person. Come look at the map, contact your council person, look online. Hopefully we will be able to have something online that shows these maps fairly easily. Okay. So 5 weeks to get with us and give us your ideas and or opinions, then we can make those decisions before a public hearing on whatever we narrow it down to. And we then have to start right away, trying to pare things down to where we think we need to go.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I do have one question.
Okay.
Sort of It's got the populations in the bottom, sir. Are those populations as of a specific date?
Census.
Okay, so any construction, anybody that's moved in since then? Okay, thank you.
We are in favor of postponing this item for the time being?
Yes.
Okay, copy. Item number 3, resolve that resolution 2024 R157 changes the date of the first regular city council meeting from Tuesday, October 1st, 2024 at 6 p.m. to blank October blank 2024 at 6 p.m. due to National Night Out. So going back to what we kind of touched on, I know we talked about how Wednesday is kind of usually a church night, so we get some feedback around Wednesdays. But organically, it appeared to me that maybe either the Wednesday or the Thursday after the regular scheduled council meeting, Tuesday would probably be the best option. Is anybody partial to a particular day?
Both Wednesdays better for me.
Both Wednesdays are better?
I can make both Wednesday.
Okay,
I can't make either Thursday.
copy. What say you, Councilwoman Cuellar?
I'm good either way.
Okay, Councilman Box?
Okay, Wednesday the 2nd works.
Wednesday the 2nd works. And Councilman Sims?
Same as Councilor London. Wednesdays look far better to me.
Okay. Can we take that same methodology to item number 4 due to the general election?
Both Wednesdays.
Both Wednesdays? All right. So if it could just be introduced that, well, actually, we're cutting it on consent. Do we agree to keep both of these items on consent? Okay. Everybody says yes?
Yes.
Okay. So 3 on consent, 4 on consent. So it will be for resolution number 3. If my phone would stop blanking out on me, it would be October the 2nd for item number 3. And then it would be October 5th, November the 6th for item number 4. Do we all agree?
Yes.
Yes.
And then at 6 p.m. like normal?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right. Thank you all for that. Moving on to item number 5, resolve that resolution 2024 R159 approves the city's storm water management program plan 2024 prepared by the Jefferson County Department of Health and authorizes the execution of this document by Frank Pennington, Public Works Director, and Greg Cochran, Building Inspections Official. I don't know if we have anybody. Would you care to present this evening?
Yeah, this is our SWMPP every year. It comes up. Went out 2 weeks ago for public comments. We had no comments on it, so now it has to go before approval here, so we can turn it back into Jefferson County. To the state by next week.
Okay.
I will wait on that to approve.
Copy. Councilman London, any questions?
No question.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
For the benefit of the audience here, this is, because there was some talk going around, and I want to make sure everybody's clear on it. This has always been Jefferson County. It's never been under the city. This is Jefferson County, but it's part of the compliance that we do every year. So it's not changing anything. It's just following through on the compliance with it. No other comments. Thank you.
Fair enough. Councilman Box?
No comments.
Councilman Sims?
No comments.
And myself, no comments. Thank you very much. We agree to keep this item on consent?
Yes.
Yes.
Outstanding. Item number 6. Now, we have all of our budgets on here that are up for deliberation, so we'll just go ahead and we'll take them one by one. Let me get my timer out. All right, resolve the resolution 2024 R160 approves the FY 24-25 general fund budget. Mayor, do you care to comment on these one by one, or do you want to make a blanket statement, or how do you want to roll through this?
I would say I have no comments whatsoever. My preference would be able to hear from the council if they have any questions about the budget line items. Yeah, I've already done several different presentations on it. I'm just going to turn it over to the council and let you all proceed with it.
Copy. Councilman London.
What? No question. I talked to Lee and I had all my questions answered from her, so I'm good to go.
Okay. Councilwoman Cuellar.
Yes, at our work session yesterday on the budget, I gave Councilor Sims and you, Council President, just a few line item adjustments. And I noted that it would keep the budget within a 10% variance that is spoken of when we're looking at line item variances. And if you look at the calculations that are down at the very bottom of the handout that I gave y'all, you also asked me to send them to all the council members, which I did do last night. Did you receive that, gentlemen? Box, Councilman Box and Councilor London? Okay. All right. Well, I have some copies that I'm happy to share. And I'll pull those out just as soon as I can grab them. What it did was, and that's the explanation that's shown at the bottom of page 15, 16 on the very back. It explains it. Councilor Box, did you need that? Sure. Okay.
I've got to enlarge the font on
Okay.
this computer. Thank you.
So if you look at the very bottom where it says total expense for all departments, it shows 3.2 million for fiscal year 2025. And then if you look at the fiscal year 2024, 2.4 million actual, there's a difference of roughly 800,000. If you multiply that fiscal year 2024, which is 2 million by 10%, it's going to equal 240,000. If you add the 240,000 to the 2.4 actual fiscal year, that equals 2.6 million, which is the revised, the yellow that's shown there, 2.6. That's revised. That's what we mean when we talk about plus or minus 10% variance. This demonstrates to our auditors and public that we are working to control these variances. And there are not that many line items. And it's why I brought this to the council. You can get a really good view of what our fiscal year 2025 budget is, what our actual activity is as of 8/31, what we will project that we may have for 9/31 because we've got that monthly average, and then you can have the revised. That's how this works whenever you're working with a budget and you're looking at line item variances. And I gave this to them. They asked me to share it with y'all last night. And these are some suggestions that I'm making. They are increases in some line items for departments. And to get them at that plus or minus 10% variance, several departments, we had line item increases. For instance, electricity. We had increases in electricity for several departments because when you look at the actual data, they're already under budgeted. We got to bump it up because electricity is not going to go down. It's going to continue to go up. So that's why these adjustments are made, to increase these line items so that we don't wind up being over budget on these kinds of expenditures. Any questions?
I do have, open up for questions.
Yes, sir.
So here's my only question about making changes. And my question to Councilwoman Quaylaw is that, have you had a conversation with all the department heads before you made these changes?
No,
Because here's the thing, they know what they need. They know how much it costs. I don't know what if I'm in the mechanic shop and the truck break down and they need front axle. I don't know what that costs. I don't know what that labor is. I have no idea. So I can't sit here without having a conversation with that department and decide what I think it should cost when they already know what the department needs. So that's my only question. If she had a conversation with all the department heads, then I would say let's move forward. But if she hasn't, how can she make these educated decisions without having a conversation with the department heads?
You
If
got
I-
1 minute left,
All right.
Councilwoman McQuarrie.
If I may respond, I think our department heads would want their dental insurance, would want their electricity, would want their fuels and lubricants, would want their equipment repairs and maintenance increased when you look at what they've actually spent. So I would think that if the Parks Division has $0 budgeted for fiscal year 2025, they would want some money for dental insurance for their employees. The same thing with the unemployment compensation. And when we're looking at electricity, if they're already paying 37,000, they're going to have another 4,300. That makes 51,000, and they're only budgeting 36,000. I'm sure they would want to bump that up. That's what this is about. It's not cutting, it's making it within that 10% variance. And usually, you're right, Councilor London, department heads have always been present when we've had this budgeting process. And we need to focus on that. Because Councilor President Spivey, you did mention last night that we need to commit to a finance committee meeting 6 months from now. And
Can I pause you?
I'm
We'll come
happy
back around.
to do that.
Thank you. Councilman Box?
You know, I'm not near the math or banking whiz that Councilwoman McQuarrie is, but between the proposed budget of $3,257,060 and the revised budget, $2,696,625, that's $560,435. Divide that out by 12 months. It is not that big of a difference. It is a little questionable of why we don't have anything under unemployment compensation, but hey, that to me is a good statement of faith that we're not going to lay anybody off. We're not going to need to have anybody that's not going to have a job. I would think that under the health insurance or dental insurance, that is covered under another budget somewhere. I'd have to get the mayor to answer that administratively of why a certain department might not have health or dental insurance. But what I see is 3.257,060 is fine when you're only talking about adjusting 560,000 on that much of a budget.
Copy. Councilman Sims?
I agree with Councilor London about the department heads. They do that. They're in their departments every day, all year long. They're in the weeds. That's their job. I don't think our job's to get in the weeds. So I believe if they budget something, that's because they know what's coming down the road in the next 12 months, and that's what they're planning on. So as far as the budget presented to us by the city treasurer and department heads, there's only, I think, 2 items I would like to see changed on that. One is public schools, increase it by 50,000 to 250, and community events, increase it by 40,000 to 400,000. So a $90,000 increase. That's the 2 things I think I'd like to see us invest more into Irondale. That's all I have at this moment.
Fair enough. My comments were I was very tempted to just kind of, to her accolades or detriment, to just go with her model. I did spend some time with Lee this afternoon, and we did kind of look through this. And we talked about the other night, we might be missing some insight. There could be some reason for some things, and we just don't know them. And that's there's so many light items and so much stuff out there, that so many situations and so many cases. So just in spending an hour with Lee, just the 5 or 6 things that she shared with me, I'm just like, you know what, they have plans. They know what they're looking at doing. It kind of blew my mentality a little bit out of the water in regards to where I was thinking about going with this with you and everything. And I decided that I was like, you know what, I'm going to kind of go back to my previous thought line and going with what the department heads and the clerk have come up with. But to my commitment to you and the commitment I made last night, we should definitely look at March as a review period. So we don't necessarily have to agree on a date tonight for that follow-up council meeting, but I need to be thinking very clearly. We all need to be thinking very clearly about a meeting, finance committee meeting in March. in order to review where we're at, especially because a big chunk of our revenue would have come in at that point. The books would have been closed for that part of the year, and we can take an assessment and take a look at things. So, like I said, just the added context of a few items that Lee went over with me, I was like, I just don't know enough to mess with what they've developed. So I'm just going to retract my influence from the situation for the time being and go with what is proposed. Since this does involve the city clerk, I would be remiss if I did not ask Lee if you had anything to say about this particular budget that's been proposed. Okay, fair enough. I appreciate it. Do we need a second round on this particular budget?
Would like.
Okay, Councilman London?
Yeah, since she's agreed, so second round, I was gonna be done with it, but let me just give you an example. As the police department, there is a overtime budget of, this is our police chief saying we need $50,000. Or proposed, Councilman Quaylor said, no, they don't need 50,000, they need 35,000. Who knows? We don't know what's gonna happen. You know, they're not saying, the chief's not saying we're gonna use $50,000. They're saying, you know, that's a mark for us to have to get there, because we don't know what disaster we're gonna be in or what's gonna be going on between now and next year. So that's his budget. Let's go to another one. Let's go to the fire department. Building repairs. Our chief, who knows what's going on, said we only need 55,000. Why? Because all those repairs that we had last time, we've done. We're not having any repairs. So 55,000 is sufficient enough in this budget. But we're giving him 60,000. He don't want 60,000. He wants 55,000 because he knows we don't have those repairs. Let's keep going. Copy and printing. 8,000 is what he said all we need. But she cuts it to 5,000. Again, we don't know. Without talking to them, we have no idea what they need. Conference and training. You know how expensive training is for firemen? Do you really know? He wants 40,000, but it's been cut to 30,000. It's expensive to train a fireman. Do we know that? I guess we don't. Registration, fees, and tuition. All right. You know, one thing I know about our firemen, and our police. One thing I know about it, they are well educated. They are always training. They're always in class. They're always doing something. You know, they just had a big training. What y'all do last couple weeks ago? What did y'all do at the Civic Center? Human trafficking. They just had a big training. That's cost money. That's cost money, and that's important not only for Irondale, but that's important to surrounding municipalities. And if they're not training for that, and we're not spending money for that, then they don't get trained.
Thank you, sir.
And one more thing, fuels and lubricant.
Oh, we gotta keep
We
it
got
to
a
the
big
time
truck,
frame.
55,000.
Councilman
they cut it
London,
to 25,000.
let's keep it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes, what I did was I looked at our actuals for our police department. Overtime last year, they spent 19,000. So I took the medium. How much are they averaging per month? $526. That's where that amount came from. And looking at the fire department, their expenses, I actually bumped those up to $503,000. They had it at $465,000. This is what is meant by variances, where you see where they're under budget and where they're over budget, you make those adjustments so that they can adequately have what they need. There is the process that's called mid-year budgeting review. We can take a look at them then. It's not set in concrete, ladies and gentlemen. We have mid-year reviews. We haven't had them. This is why I'm fine with having Councilman President Spivey. He's committed to March. We have got to stick with it. We have never, since we've been elected, have never had mid-year budget reviews. We need to have them to have these variances controlled. Now, there was a couple of other things that I did want to mention, and that is the flags, because we made this commitment to John Schoen. I would like to see some funds put in the Public Works Department. They work hand in hand with Public Works on getting flags and getting our poles put up. Let's make sure we have money, is Frank here tonight, that we have money for that, because it is crazy to have our Irondale Exchange Club to come to the counselors and ask for discretionary funding when it's always been in public works. Let's get that money in there. As long as we've got the money in there, I'm good with the budget. Let's go on and have the mid-year reviews. Leave it as is. We'll take a look at these variances again, and we can go from there.
Councilman Box.
Quick question, Mayor. How many employees in the city, sir?
180.
180?
180.
You know, 560,000, 52 weeks in a year, roughly 52 hours per employee. If you do an average of overtime, $1.15 an hour. I think I trust our department heads to know what they need. I don't have to worry about. If variances are important, which Councilwoman McQuaylar says they are for auditors, bankers, and things like that, but right now we just had a pretty big place up in New York invest quite a bit of money in us, so I think we're okay. And once again, I agree with her on the mid-year reviews. That's something that has to be put in place, but I think we can leave what they're asking for in place, and we've shown very easily that we can move money around when we need to. That's my second round.
Fair enough.
May I
Councilman
read
Sims?
yours?
I'll come back one second.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Sims?
I just don't think we can take a cookie cutter 10%, stamp it on there, and we're good. You keep talking about variances, and I understand that 6 months in, when we're meeting, we need to see where things are and kind of rein stuff in maybe. But to create the budget, I think the department heads know the variables that they're dealing with, and they've already given us the variances they need, and that our cookie cutter 10% isn't gonna give them what they need. Again, they're in there every day. They know what's coming up this next year. They know the trainings that they got to schedule people for. They know all the things that we don't know, because that's not our job. Our job's not to get into the departments and determine exactly how much they need. Yes, we have to approve it, but we don't create the budget. It's been done. So I don't, again, see the need to cookie cutter, just we need this exact amount of difference. Again, I think we can use variances 6 months from now when we see how things are doing, how much revenue is coming in, how much of the department's spent, are we on track? But for now, again, I think we need to just go with what we got.
Fair enough. I'm going to ask some clarifying questions in my last 2 minutes. So can you please reiterate your two adjustments?
Oh,
Because if you're going to introduce this.
yeah, and I guess I would like everyone's opinion on that too. Increase the public schools by 50,000 and increase community events by 40,000. So a total of 90,000 out of 30, whatever, thousand.
Well, just
30 million.
just go ahead and introduce it that way if you care to, and then we'll let it go.
Which,
I don't want to.
would you introduce it with just the total amount, the new total amount of those two line items?
I'm fine with that. Yeah. As long as the intent is clear. And then before I come back to you, because you had a question of me, I don't know how much the flags cost and everything like that. And Mayor?
Yes, I would say going forward that the city will take care of the flags.
Okay.
We do not need the Exchange Club to be able to do that for the city. It's on city right of way, city property. So the city will determine the amount that we need. We will also determine when we will put that on the budget and when those things take place. But we will no longer be dependent on the Exchange Club to handle the flags for the city. We will do this ourselves.
Flags, poles, concrete installation.
Yes, we will.
Copy.
We will do all of this in house. We no longer need the Exchange Club to be able to execute any of those things for the city. And if you don't mind, because I hadn't said anything, I would just like to take the time to say, I'm more, when we do a budget, I believe in context more than variances, because if you don't understand the context why those numbers are there, if you're just looking at numbers and you say, I'm going to reduce this by 10%, I'm going to reduce this by 5%, but then you don't know the context of the numbers, then you really don't understand exactly what you're doing. You have to have a discussion with people if you're going to be able to create a budget. You can't create a budget in isolation.
That's my time, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
You can have my time. I didn't use.
Well, we didn't offer to yield it, so there you go.
Council President, you
yes,
actually
sir.
asked me a question. Or somebody asked me a question that I responded to. That wasn't really my time. I was just responding to the
That was during my time. That's the only reason I was so legalistic about it.
All right.
But if you want to take a moment to answer a question that was asked of you, I'll allow it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I never had any time. Remember, I never spoke to the subject. I said that I would allow everybody else to speak. Then I would speak after I've heard the concerns come from everybody else. And I just wanted to say that context is more important than variance. If you don't have a conversation with people, if you don't even provide the mayor with a copy of what the report is, at the last work session that we had, it was 6 people here. 2 of those were my family members. Everybody got a copy of the budget except me, the city clerk, and my family members. People in the audience that didn't even have anything to do with the budget got a copy of the budget, which that's kind of mind-boggling to me, that if we want to work together, if we want to stop being precipitous, if we want to begin to be charitable towards each other, it seems like it would start, if we really wanted to work together, that at least the mayor would get a copy of the budget, because at the end of the day, nothing happens with the department heads unless the mayor signs off on it. So I would say that if we want to go forward, we want to be able to work together, have no problem, but we got to be able to put these numbers in context. The numbers that we have is the vision. It's the written vision in numbers. That's what it is. It's not working to be able to reduce numbers for the sake of numbers. I mean, I've seen some of the line items that were cut. I didn't get a copy of it, but I still got a chance to be able to see it. And some of those things are nonsense to me, because there's no history or understanding behind why those adjustments was made. You heard us talking about it. You have to put all of the budgets together. You can't just look at one in isolation, but you got to do all 8 of them to be able to come up with something that works well for the city. And I would say what I presented, I feel that it was a very conservative, a good budget. And if we're going to make adjustments in March, why go through this shenanigans of having to reduce everything and then have to review it all over again?
Fair enough. So we've heard of an adjustment from Councilman Sims. Are you satisfied with Exchange Club and the burden that the city is willing to take on for them in lieu of your suggestion?
I am. I just don't want there to be a misinterpretation of what took place here. I have stated that every administration, with the exception of this administration,
Let's focus on Exchange Club
has always
real
had
quick.
department heads present when we discuss the budget.
Let's just focus on the
city clerk sent
Exchange
the
Club.
budget to everyone, so the mayor received a copy.
Councilwoman Quayer, let's just stick to the question about Exchange Club. I'm trying to dial
I'm
this
fine
in.
with it, as long as we have money in the budget, because it's something that's within the city. When you come into the city, and we have the flags and the flag poles and all, and it's in our Public Works Department, and if the Public Works Department is going to assume responsibility, I totally support it.
So you're good on that?
Yes, I am.
Copy. Do we leave this item on consent? Yes?
I'd like to leave it as is, leave the budget the way it is. We can come back and revise if we have to add to schools, if we have to add to community programs. Leave it as is, and those revisions can be made in March. Let's be consistent.
What say you on those revisions? Are you good in March?
Sure.
Councilman Box?
That was all I was gonna say.
Okay.
If we're not gonna revise everything that's proposed for revision, let's not revise anything. Let's look at it in 6 months.
Copy that. Councilman Leonard, are you good on consent? Well, we're on item 6, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate the encouragement, Coach. We're discussing, well, the general is usually the big boy in the room, so,
That's the
okay.
big boy.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we're on consent on this.
Yes.
Outstanding. Item number 7, Resolution 2024 R161 approves the FY 24-25 capital budget. Mayor, do your comments stand, or do you want to do a similar?
I'll do the same thing.
Okay.
I have nothing to
Copy that.
expound on about this.
Okay.
budget.
Councilman London?
No, again, I had all my questions answered. I'm ready to go.
All right, fair enough. Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes, Council President Spivey, we discussed the capital budget, and I do want to discuss the capital budget for our library department. We have $9 million that was budgeted this year, fiscal year 2024. We have spent a little over $2 million. We still have $6.8 million, but our fiscal year 2025 budget is only showing $1 million. I would like to know, and I did place a call to our auditor to ask, where is this money? We have to give an account for this remaining $6.8 million. Where is this recorded in our books? I'm not comfortable with having 9 million and showing that we have 6.8 million, but then we only budget $1 million. Where is that $6.8 million? We're not showing it here. And we are the ones that are going to have to answer for this because we are the ones that are going to approve this. I would just like an answer. Where is this money in our books?
Can I answer this?
I'm going to pause her time for that.
All right. I think we discussed this at the first work session that we had. The question was, we budget $9 million for the library. We only had spent $2 million, and we decided to put $1 million in there this year. Well, when we did that, we didn't have a public building authority. The money is coming from the public building authority. It's not coming out of the general fund. It was coming out of the general fund, and that's why we budget. Well, it was coming out of capital. That's why we budgeted for it to be able to come out of capital, because that was coming out of city funds. But we now have a public building authority, and the $43 million that we borrowed to be able to build the buildings, that's where the funding is coming to be able to do that. That's why we're not budgeting for that money, because the only thing we're doing is paying expenses, and the money will then flow from the PBA to take care of those expenses.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
All right, so the 6.8 million that we're showing, is that going to be in our unrestricted bank account? We got 6.8 million that we haven't spent.
Why would the
Are we showing that? But I want to know, I just want to know, where are we going to account for this?
Councilwoman Cuellar, that is a budget. If you don't spend something for a budget, there's nothing to account for. That's not a journal entry to make because nothing has been spent. If we make a journal entry for something that hasn't been spent, then we are making an error, and we would have to deal with the auditors. But nothing has not been spent. That's why you will not see a journal entry. And the only thing that we budgeted for in 25 is to be able to put in furnishings, alarm systems, and those type of items. That's why you see 1 million there instead of the remainder.
Okay. What I'm seeing that's coming from the PBA, when I look at the Civic Center, I see 15 million. When I see what's coming for our Civic Center, I see 18 million for fiscal year 2025. Our library is not even complete. It's not there yet. Why are we showing 1 million? Why aren't we showing what's coming from the PBA to complete the library? That's where I'm coming from. I want to see where is this money for the completion of our library. We've only spent $2.18 million right now for our library. We know it's going to take a lot more to do that, but I'm only seeing $1 million. I want to know, where is that? That's coming from the PBA. If it's coming from the PBA, let's show it in the fiscal year 2025 budget. I need some answers. This is what I work with. I work with budgets. Help me to understand, why is this not shown in our budget? The library's not complete. Where is this money coming from?
I do not know how much clearer I can say it, because the PBA is a separate entity from the city. The PBA is not a part of the city. Therefore, the city would not be doing record keeping for the PBA. However, we will show the transfers when they come in from the PBA to the city. It's a separate entity, just like the CDA. It's not a part of the city, so why would we carry them on the city books if they are not a part of the city? That's my question that I would like to ask.
And again, 18 million is coming from the PBA to the city to build the civic center. 18 million is shown on the city's budget. It is shown on our budget. I want to know, why isn't the 6.8 million shown on our budget that's coming from the PBA? I would like some answers on this, because I'm going to be signing off on this, and we need to give an account. We have 15 million coming from the PBA for the municipal complex. It's shown in this budget. The library is not shown in this budget. I want to know, where is it?
Well,
That's the question.
The only thing that I'm going to say is this: I can't explain it any better than what I've shared it. And the only other thing that I can say, if you don't agree with it, vote no. But I'm not going to keep saying the same thing over and over again, and you keep saying that you don't get it. If you're on record for voting no, that provides you with the protection that you need. But other than continuing to hold this up to keep talking about the same thing over and over again, and I've explained it, I don't know any other way to be able to break it down. I just say vote your conscience, vote no. But we need to move on.
We do need to move on, Councilwoman Cuellar. Councilman Box?
So I'm clear, the $1 million is going to buy chairs, tables, alarm systems, things like that that may or may not be covered, are incidentals that are coming up from it there. The PBA spend for the rest. Now I kind of get Councilwoman Cuellar. I was like, okay, we're budgeting 15 million for this and 18 million for that, and that's actually in the general fund budget. So kind of an unusual thing there, but those are not under construction yet. The library is under construction. We're actually paying invoices on the library. So therefore, in dispersing funds, yes, that's trackable. I see exactly what the mayor's talking about. Those funds will be dispersed by the city when they're drawn from the PBA. That's the reason for the 1 million. The 6.8 is not going to be spent unless we have to go over 1 million for those incidentals the mayor's talking about. That's my understanding. I could definitely be wrong because I'm nowhere near the financial guru that Councilwoman Cuellar is. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Sims?
I don't believe I have any questions at this time.
Barely even got the thing started. My questions or my comments would be, it's a complicated process. I spent a little bit of time getting re-educated about that tonight as well. And I think the only way that you're going to be able to track this is know where the money started, watch the transfers, and watch it flush out on the expense report. That's how you're going to track it. So as far as the mayor's comments are concerned, it is a separate entity. That ledger is not going to be on our city budgets because it's a separate entity. So you're going to have to know where we started, watch the transfers, watch it flush out on expenses. That's how you're going to track it. That's all I have on that. Do we need a second round on this? Councilman London?
That was the second.
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
I would just like to clarify Councilor Box's comment on this being under the general fund. It's not under the general fund. It's a separate budget. It's a capital budget. Capital budget. It's not under the general fund.
Okay. Councilman Box, you do have 2 minutes for a reply.
I clarified that I'm not the financial guru she is, but I'm simply saying until the money's spent, it's all malarkey. Yeah. You know, I make X amount of dollars per year. Now I could make a budget like I made X amount of dollars per year. But until I write the checks to the power company, the water company, incidental spending, everything like that, you don't know what anything is till you have the actuals. The PBA is now set up as an independent corporation. They're not liable to give anything as far as to the city other than to say, hey, we need disbursements for this, this, and this to cover obligations that y'all have said you would help us with. And when those come, then we'll see what's going on. but we really can't track the money that's in the PBA other than if they were good naturedly to do us. Is that accurate, Mr. Mayor?
I would have to confirm it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Sims?
No questions still.
Okay. And I have no questions for my second round. Does this stay on consent or no?
Yes.
No,
Yes.
No.
no.
We have one no, so we'll move item number 7 to reg. Item number 8, resolve the resolution 2024 R162 approves the FY 24-25 water system budget. Mayor, I know this is dealing with water. Superintendent, anything you would like to say up front?
No, I'll pass.
Okay. Councilman London?
Pass.
Councilwoman Quayle?
I'm good.
Councilman Box?
I'm good. We can leave it on consent.
Councilman Sims?
I agree with Councilor Box.
Okay, I'm agreeing as well. Do we keep this on consent or no?
Yes.
Everyone agrees? Item number 9, resolve the resolution 24 R163.
Council President Spivey, I did have a question. I apologize. Can we go back to
We
that?
can go back.
I would like to ask about the water was what we discussed last night. And when I looked at the 4 million in our capital budget for the water, what is that 4 million for? Are we planning a contingency fund for our water? That was the question that I wanted to ask, because we really need to have a contingency fund, but 4 million, that was never answered. What is that 4 million for?
4 million that's in the capital budget for the waters for the construction of the new water building.
Are we considering having, we really need to consider having some money for a contingency fund, because we've got a lot of educating that we need to do. We've got some additional testing perhaps that needs to be ongoing. I think it would be a prudent thing for us to have a contingency fund that is set up, and if we can add to that capital expenditure, we really need to do something to make sure that we are being proactive and not being reactive. This is going to be something that we're going to be dealing with for a long time, and I think the sooner that we can deal with it and having a contingency fund, the better off we're going to be. We're
Councilwoman.
demonstrating that we are being proactive
Okay.
in having this.
Councilwoman Quayle, what kind of contingency fund are you talking about creating?
In our capital budget for the water, we have $4 million set aside. You're asking for 4 million for our water department
To build a new building.
to build a new building, and I'm
Correct.
saying, can we add some additional money to that for a contingency fund? Because we're going to need to be looking at these unforeseens that we don't know about. This is an ongoing work. I appreciate you updating us on what's going on right now, but we're going to need to educate our residents. We're going to need to keep them updated, and a contingency fund would be, we could draw on these expenditures. We have them in the budget. We could then use that, and we're one step ahead. I'm always one that wants to plan for the unforeseens, and having a contingency fund, putting some money in there for that purpose is a good thing.
I'm trying to understand. Do you say we need to create a contingency fund because we're building this new building and it's going to be more than the 4 million that is there?
No,
Because
what-
you wouldn't put a contingency fund in a capital fund. A contingency fund would go in the actual water budget, but it wouldn't go in a capital fund because it's not a capital item. That's why I'm trying to make sure
Right.
that I'm clear. Are you talking about creating a contingency fund because we need to be able to deal with PFAS?
I'm saying that we need to do that. And
Okay.
if we could do that in capital, why not do it in capital?
Well-
If we could add
We can't.
sufficient,
That's not a capital item. We'll put that in reserve. We have a reserve. We have a water
Okay.
reserve. You put it in reserve, but you wouldn't put it in a capital fund to be a contingency. But since you brought it up about PFAS, I want to let everybody know that we went to ADEM on Thursday, and I know people have been saying we need to put some money aside. We need to put some money aside, right? For PFAS, right? Well, We actually came back with the bag on Thursday. Anybody familiar with what the bag is? A bag is a bag is when you get a bunch of money, not a little bit of money, but a bunch of money. So when you all report about what's going on in the city with PFAS, I want you to make sure that you tell the people that the city has received $5.3 million from ADM to be able to do some temporary measures to be able to deal with PFAS.
Glad to hear that. That makes me feel better.
Does that satisfy your concern on
It
that
is.
item?
Can I just follow up with that? Is that when we applied for the loan
No.
a couple
That's
of years
something
ago?
totally different.
Okay, this
No,
is
it has
strictly for
nothing to do. It
PFAS.
has nothing to do with the loan.
Okay.
It is a fund that is set up with ADM to be able to help municipalities to be able to deal with the PFAS issue. The reason that we were able to receive the funding, two reasons that we were criticized for, and that's the reason that we got the money. Number one, we are proactive. There are a lot of cities that are not doing anything. ADM saw what we were doing here at the city, the plan that we put in place. Number two, people criticize, why are you testing? You already know what's out there. Why are you spending money to be able to do that? Well, the reason that we got the money because we were proactive and because we were testing, because they said they didn't want to throw $5.3 million down a hole and not have any data to prove why they gave the city of Irondale this money. So it's a great day in the city now that we have $5.3 million to be able to deal with PFAS. And guess what? We going back to get some more bags.
Mayor Stewart, thank you for that update. That's what I was concerned about, having money for those unforeseens. So thank you for sharing that news. When I put together and was looking at all of this, I didn't know about this. So this is great news. I have no more questions.
Satisfied.
Yes, I am. Thank you.
It's all about context.
Moving on to item number 9.
It's all about
Let's go ahead and bring it in, guys. I know we're having
Are we
the time
gonna-
here.
Are we going to continue through with me and Sims and yourself?
Absolutely, please, sir.
So
Sorry, thank you.
Mayor, congratulations. Thank you for the hard work on there. Councilwoman Keller, I'm glad that you brought the issues up. Now it kind of put this as a record before of the good things that God's doing and happening. So now I'm going to be a little bit of Debbie Downer, a little bit of realist. You guys Google how much it costs to put something into PFAS, and you're into 8 figures, if I'm saying that right, Counselor Spivey. So we got a long way to go, but we're with the proactivity that the mayor instituted as the superintendent of the water board before this even happened when we got it into it. That's a great thing. Got a long way to go. So the 5.3 is not necessarily going to solve our problems, but it's going to put us way further down the road. So that's great. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Sims?
Which item is this?
We're making comments on the water budget.
Well, while we're talking about water, I'll go ahead.
Yeah, thank you.
Everybody here thinks the water issue is a huge priority. Everybody up here, everybody out there, everybody watching online, it's a big priority. And so last night, I could not say things that the mayor has now announced. I was just asking people, like, we're working, we're doing all we can, just give it some time. He chose to announce just then, so awesome. Again, there's not much more we can do. We're doing everything we can. I wish we could snap fingers and wave wands and poof, 0 PFAS, but that's not realistic. So we are making huge strides. Again, just like the mayor said, I don't know of any other city that's doing much, especially as much as we are. It's going to take some time. It won't be overnight. We are way ahead of the game, I think. And we can focus on the water, and we can also focus on all the stuff we've been doing for 2 or 3 years, which is growing community, growing the city, and bringing businesses in. And we can keep moving both forward. And that's all.
Okay. I will always like to point out that just because we have a proposed solution doesn't mean the solution is sustainable. We talked about just 7 weeks of a case study This isn't Loctite and duct tape fixing a problem. We want to not only come up with a solution, but a solution that is sustainable. These things take time. I know that y'all want answers. I've heard, we need to get daily feedback. We don't necessarily have feedback to provide on a daily basis. We do our testing, we monitor our results, and we need this to be, we need to make sure that the approach we're taking is sustainable at the end of the day. Because if we get something working and it stops working in 6 months, now what? So I applaud I applaud the diligence that is being done, and to come home with that bag, Mayor, go get another.
Get the
Go
truck.
get another. I saw your hand raised.
Thank you, Council
Yeah,
President.
I'll yield the rest of my time to
The
you.
mayor could probably explain this better, being the water superintendent, but I just gained some insight into that the other day. The reason there's 2 testing systems is because, remember this, ladies and gentlemen, our water comes from the aquifer. Now, if you look at water aquifers, you have several different types of aquifers. You have limestone, you could have sandstone, you could have clay. So the two best are the granular activated carbon, Mayor, and reverse osmosis.
Yes.
So reverse osmosis has been shown to be better for surface water, but granular activated carbon seems to maybe be working better for our limestone mineral content. All right. Now, the other thing, like to Council President Spivey's part, over time, the granular activated carbon may not do as well as the limestone continues to meld or molt or whatever. So the approach that the water board is taking and that the council has approved of the 2 testing systems for now, we're going to figure out which is going to be best. And it may even be, Mayor, you may know this, or Jared would, it may that we have to have one system for one well and another system for another well. Just depend on which one kind of works the best. So keep that in mind as we're sharing stuff with Fox 6 News and as we're sharing stuff online. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We agree to keep water budget on consent?
Yes.
Outstanding. All right, moving on to item number 9. Resolve the resolution 2024 R163 approves the FY 24-25 E911 budget. We have a few of these meetings each year. Councilman London, your thoughts? Councilwoman Cuellar?
No questions.
Councilman Box?
Yeah, we need the emergency fund.
Councilman Sims?
Good on consent.
Do it on consent. Everybody agrees?
Yes.
All right. Item number 10, resolve the resolution 2024 R164 approves the FY 24-25 court budget. Councilman London?
No questions.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
No questions.
Councilman Box?
I'm good.
Councilman Sims?
Also good on consent with me.
I agree. We agree to keep this on consent?
Yes.
All right. Item number 11, resolve the resolution 2024 R165 approves the FY 24-25 7-cent gas fund budget. Councilman London?
No question.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
No questions.
Councilman Box?
I'm good.
Councilman
Same.
Sims? We agree to keep this on consent?
Yes.
Yes.
Moving forward. Item number 12, resolve the resolution 2024 R166 approves the FY 24-25 4 and 5 cent gas fund budget. Councilman London?
No question.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
No questions.
Councilman Box?
I'm good.
Councilman Sims?
Good with consent.
We good on consent?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Item number 13, resolve the resolution 2024 R167 approves the FY 24-25 Rebuild Alabama Fund budget. Councilman London?
No question.
Councilman Cuellar?
No questions.
Councilman Box?
I'm good.
Councilman Sims?
Good.
And we agree to keep this on consent?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. That'll be item number 13. Item number 14, resolve the resolution 2024 R168 authorizes the allocation of public funds in the amount of $2,600 from the 23-24 FY discretionary fund of Councilman Aaron Sims to be used exclusively for the creation and implementation of a school safety initiative in partnership with the Irondale Police Department. Councilman Sims, you have the floor to introduce it.
I went to the Irondale Civic Center one morning, I guess the third morning of the training that our, I guess, police and fire put on with talking about trafficking and anti-trafficking, I guess, and was talking to Trudy about all her work that she does. And she was talking about trying to get into the schools and all the stuff that I don't ever want to know about, but happens that scares me with kids. But trying to get into the schools to educate, both either teachers or teachers and students, and it was having pushback from the county. And then a couple weeks go by, and we had the incident in Georgia with the school shooting. And so I thought, what can we do? So I talked to the police chief, and 2,600 is all I have left in my discretionary funds. So I don't know how much it's going to cost, but just send it in there and basically the county SROs are kind of in charge of the schools. So our police department has some really amazing instructors. They've done an active shooter drill at JCA a couple years ago. So we're going to set it aside, then we're going to get with school board, with the sheriff's office, and see kind of what we can do to get some sort of, safety education into our schools, whether it's active shooter situation or trafficking, what to look out for, or maybe we just do something with the parents and the teachers. Just anything we can do, I think, will be handy, will be great. And plus, both of these first things that are kind of things I thought about, I feel like once you learn it, no matter where you are in the future, you could see something that looks amiss and maybe save some girl that's being trafficked, or you could be at Walmart or at your business when they could be in college, and it could still, something they learn could save their life. And who knows what in the future will happen where maybe the principals, hey, we need some help here, and could you do this sort of training, and our police department can, work on it and put it on, and that's the idea.
Okay. Councilman London, any questions?
Well, you talk about that training, and I think every citizen needs to go through that form of training. I think most of us have, the police and mayor and everybody has, but if you have a granddaughter, niece, nephew, you have a nephew, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Your wife, your whatever. It doesn't matter. They're taking all kinds. You need to go through some training, and you have to be vigilant when you go out. When you go outside of your house, I know we have a safe place in Irondale, but you have to be vigilant because this stuff takes place on college campuses. It takes place in high schools. It takes place in your communities. So no one's safe. So you have to be vigilant. As a person who works in a school system, the number one thing that I worry about is what happened in Georgia and happened all over the country. Is that happening? And we talk to our kids all the time about what to do. And when we have those drills at school, I think when we have those drills, I am so intense with the kids because sometimes they don't take it serious enough. And they think it's just a drill, but it's not just a drill. It's a drill that can save your life. And so we have to take it serious. And the way you do that, if you have a kid in school, if you have somebody, your neighbor in school, get involved with the schools and make sure that they're doing all they can to keep your kids safe. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Councilwoman McQuarrie?
Councilman Sims, I want to thank you for bringing this forward, this resolution. Also want to thank our police department, Chief Wiggins, and our police officers in taking the steps forward and coming up with a program that is workable for both Jefferson County or the folks that they have there, and then working together, which our police officers are very good about doing. And I just want to thank you for bringing this forward, and I hope that it's one that will continue, and if it's one that will need some additional funding in the future, we can certainly do that when we have some additional funding. Those are my comments. Thank you.
Copy. Councilman Box?
I'll echo Councilor Sims' introduction, Councilman London and Councilman McQuarrie, and move on to Councilman Sims again.
Okay. Any final remarks? Councilman Sims?
No, I mean, when talking to the police chief, he was just off the cuff, very early, he doesn't think that it will be too expensive. I mean, this would allow them to buy some equipment needed to do some stuff, which they could then use over and over and over. But it shouldn't take too much, hopefully, funds to, they've got instructors in-house and stuff like that. So hopefully that'll go a long way.
Okay. I think it's fantastic, and I appreciate you bringing it forward. Thank you. We agree to leave item number 14 on consent?
Yes.
Outstanding. We've already discussed item number 15. We agreed to keep that on consent.
Yes.
Item number 16, that resolution 2024 R170 modifies resolution 3-12R-96 to include additional city departments. Mayor, this has your name by it, if you care to.
This resolution is just to put in writing the reflection that we currently are working up under. As you can see, this hasn't been updated since 1996. That's the reason that I put it on there. To, like I said, reflect the way that we are currently organized at the present time.
Councilman Linden?
No question.
Councilwoman McQuarrie?
Yes, the only comments I had, Councilman Spivey, we discussed it at the work session. Just a couple of questions on our Parks and Recreation Department. I believe that the Ruffner Ballpark will be completed next year. Is that correct, Mayor Stewart?
Yes.
Okay, so this is great. You can have the Parks and Director, I believe that was what we were looking at. The public relations, I mentioned this at the work session. This is not something that is essential at this time. We do have $608,000 that's allocated for advertising, promotions, and I would like us to wait. We are a municipality that is 13,500 people, and I did speak with other municipal officials that are comparable in size and others that are much larger. They don't have a PR department, and why can't we just wait before we go on and do this? Because even our budget, it wasn't a complete budget. It only had 5 line items on it. And it only covered the health insurance, the dental, the salary, but there wasn't anything for computer, there wasn't anything for office equipment, there wasn't anything there. And I just don't want us to be continuing to go down this route when we really don't have to right now. We're a small municipality. Anything that should come up usually involves our legal team, and they are the spokesman for the city. I just don't think it's prudent for us to be moving forward with this position, and I would like to ask that we consider putting it off until we are in a position where we see that this is something that's essential, but it's really not at this point.
Does that conclude your opening comments?
Yes, those are my comments.
Councilman Box?
Correct me if I'm wrong. I thought we now have a public relations person.
We do.
So that's got to
We
be
didn't know.
in a department. Well, I say correct me if I'm wrong. So to me, that budget's going somewhere. So is that budget under admin, I would suppose, or so we should already have the budget on if we've already had the person. So I don't see why we're just modifying to add a department that we already have a person working in the department. So I'm sure that person's already funded. Is that person already funded, Mayor?
True.
Thank you.
Who is the person? Because we weren't told, the council wasn't told.
Let's come back around to it. Box, does that include your,
That concludes my comments.
Okay. Councilman Sims?
I'll say the same thing I said last night. Because, well, that's the earlier statement. So I've been wanting someone in public relations in Irondale for 8+ years. I think it's awesome. We've got someone doing it. I think they're doing a great job. I think going forward as we grow, we're going to need it even more. I bet you if I asked any city that does not have a public relations person or department if they wanted one, they'd say yes. I'm all for it. Again, this is just establishing 2 departments. This does not. Does this spend any money, Mayor?
Yes.
This change. But I mean, we've already created.
I mean, you've already created the position.
2
You all gave me the
positions and
authority
budgeted
to go ahead and to be able to hire and to put a person
This
in that
just puts all
place.
the lines in the chart.
Yes,
right,
it's
right?
currently it's coming out of the admin budget because it's only for a month or so. The best thing that we could do is separate it out and make it a separate department because that's the way that I treat it at the leadership level.
I'm for it.
Okay. Come back for a second round. Councilman London?
Well, you know, I'm able to speak for myself. I knew about this position and I knew the person that they hired. So I just want to make that clear. I already knew about it.
Okay. Councilwoman Quayle?
Yes, this is what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen. Only certain council members are privy to some information. We make up, 5 of us make up this body, and I wasn't aware that we hired someone. Everyone on this council needs to know. Counselor Box, there is a separate department in our budget. If you would have looked at our budget, you would have seen that there's $114,000 allocated for this department. And what I'm saying is it's not complete. There's only 5 line items. There's no office furniture, there's nothing, no computer, there's nothing else, no desk, anything else in this $114,000 budget for this department. It's what I'm saying is we're not getting the communication. Only certain people get the communication. This should not be going on with the council. The entire body needs to know when a person is hired, what the person will be doing. Please communicate with the council. And I'm saying is we have 114,000, but that's not all. There's going to be some additional money. And I'm saying it's not essential right now. We don't need to have this. Those are my comments.
Councilman Box?
Councilwoman Cruella, I'm sorry that you didn't find out. I asked about 2 weeks ago, and then since another council person had discussed it with me already, I wasn't sure that I would be violating any open meetings by discussing with you, or I would have called and let you know as well. And I think the mayor just explained that it's only temporarily budgeted under admin. Is that correct, Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
So it will be changed either after that month, or it will be changed once we have our mid-year review that you're talking about. I think all this is a structuring, housekeeping. It's not whether we create the position, don't create the position, fund the position, don't fund the position. This simply says we have this department. Heretofore, under this old resolution, we did not have that department. So now we have to declare that we have that department.
Yes, you funded the position when you approved the budget.
That's a layman. This thing is not approving, disapproving, hiring, firing. This thing is simply saying that under this 3-12 R-96, we did not have this department. Now we have this department, so we need to get it on a resolution saying we have that department.
All right.
Now that's a lot of mumbo jumbo, municipal, but it's cleaning up the paperwork.
Who is the PR person, by the way?
It's my turn, I believe.
Emma Tolbert.
There you go. Does that conclude your comments?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, Councilman Sims?
We approved this position a couple months ago. There was no top secret announcement. I just happened to be in conversation, heard, awesome. This is just like any other position in the city. I don't think we make announcements when a fireman gets hired, a policeman, a public works employee, water department. We were not, the mayor's over the city employees. We approved the position because it was brand new. It got filled. I don't understand what the big deal is here. It's creating a department. It's on paper right here. We're not spending more money. We're just putting an org chart and making it updated since 1996. That's all we're doing.
I echo Councilman Sims' comments and Councilman Box's comments on this. Mayor said something specific, leadership structure. Everybody's got if you have a job, there's probably a leadership structure. That's all this resolution is referring to. Who reports to who? That's all this is. The position was already created. I didn't ask. I wasn't aware that it was filled, so I appreciate knowing that who it's been selected, and thank you. But I didn't ask, so that's on me. But happy with your decision. Once again, this is a leadership. This is a chain of command that we're talking about here. Everybody that's got employment or works for a non-for-profit or whatever it is you do, there's a proverbial food chain, and this is just kind of creating a piece of that. Those are my comments. Do we agree to keep this on agenda or no?
Yes.
I mean, do we agree to
good
keep this
now
on
that we know.
consent?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Moving on to the regular agenda, this will be a public hearing. Resolve that resolution 2024 R171 declares the weeds, overgrowth, and noxious vegetable matter located on the premises of 3520 Stonehenge Place, Irondale, Alabama 35210 as a public nuisance and orders the abatement thereof. Do I have a motion for a public hearing?
Motion to go to the public hearing.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. So resolution is as of stated. Is there anyone here that is in charge of this property that would like to speak for or against this abatement? Okay. That being said, since we do not have anyone associated with the property, is there anyone in favor of this abatement? Do you care to speak on it, sir?
My name is Kevin Hill, and I live at 3524 Stonehenge Place, which is next door to the property involved in the resolution, 3520 Stonehenge Place. And I just want to say that I'm in support of this motion. It is quite the ordeal to deal with, and I would appreciate any action the city takes on our behalf. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else to speak for this abatement? Anyone to speak against this abatement? Fair enough. At this time, I ask for a motion to leave public hearing. Motion by Councilman
Second.
London. Do we have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. We'll go ahead and move on to item number 18. Ordain that ordinance 2024-18 amends Chapter 3 Animals, Article 2 Animals of the Municipal Code of the City of Irondale, Alabama. Councilman Sims, you had an observation. You wanted to bring this forward?
This does two things. Let's see. The first one is the leash law currently is written in such a way that says animal doesn't define animals. So any animal not on a leash, apparently you can end up standing up here talking to the judge. So I thought, and someone on Facebook let us know that someone had to come here for a cat. I thought that was silly. So I can't find the new verbiage.
I've got it right here if you need it.
I think it was, I think it removes, my red line. Let's see.
I've got the following pages if you need it. That's the following page.
Where does it define?
I think what you're looking for is, you're looking for that, aren't you?
Oh, there it goes.
Yeah.
Yes. I was looking too far down. With the exception of cats. So it removes cats. If there's any other animals y'all think might not need to be on a leash, we'll throw it in here. But yeah, you've got a goat, got to have a leash. Got a pig, walk it on a leash. Dogs on a leash. I don't know what else. Horses, I guess. Who knows?
Yeah.
But you're not going to show. Hopefully, if we pass this, no one's going to show up to court because their cat was running around the yard. The second thing it does is address animals in vehicles. And I'll just read it. No driver of a motor vehicle shall leave an animal unattended in any motor vehicle when conditions in said vehicle would constitute a health hazard to the animal. If it's super cold outside, if it's hot, that covers it. When conditions inside an unattended motor vehicle constitute an imminent threat to the animal's health or safety, any animal left in a parked vehicle may be removed from that vehicle by any animal control officer or any law enforcement officer. So our police and or animal control have the ability now, if this passes, to address a situation where before they did not have as much authority as we thought maybe they should.
Thank you. Councilman London?
Yeah, I just have, I guess, one question. I don't know if the chief is still here. How did he feel about the ordinance? Because they're going to be the one breaking windows and all that stuff.
Did you have a conversation with
I
Chief?
spoke to the chief before I spoke to the city attorney about it. And I forgot in my meeting last week when we were talking about the school safety thing to bring it up. But he was going to reach out to animal control and get some information from them, but we forgot to follow up back with each other.
But you think he's in agreement?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
There he is.
I'm sorry, there he is. So.
But I have to
we just don't have to get that
Prior to it.
There are some things that, animal control handles, and we work with them. So, as long as we can still work together with them, so that pass, most of those are in our homes.
Right. Okay.
And, Mr. Lawley may have some of that too, as far as some of the ordinances. They need to do the enforcement on
Okay.
but I haven't seen it happen, but I'm all for anything that can help us.
Okay. Thank you.
Good, Councilman
I didn't see you back there. I didn't see you back there.
Okay, I didn't either. I was
Camouflage.
Over there. Yeah. You moved on me.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
No, I just want to mention to Councilman Sims,
Thank you.
thank you so much for getting with our city attorney and taking a look at our ordinance, what we've got. It was very ambiguous, vague, and this really spells it out so that we don't have to have cats on leashes, but it does cover what needs to be on a leash, and also addresses the concerns that have been addressed to the council before about pets in a very hot car for a long period of time. I want to thank you for what you're doing, and I think this is great.
Councilman Box?
Just echoing Councilman London and Councilwoman Cuellar's on this, and thanking Councilman Sims for his insight on it.
And then I thank you as well for bringing it up.
Okay, one more thing.
Yes, please.
In talking to the city attorney, I mean, you can look up these laws, and there are some places that are like they allow just any person to come bust a window, save a cat in a car. There are other places that we currently, the state has no laws. So I can't remember which one this was kind of geared off of, but I feel like this is kind of middle ground, gets us a start. If we get a year down the road or 6 months down the road and need to tweak it a little bit, let's add some more protections in there. We can. We
Fair
get
enough.
going in the right direction.
I just appreciate you for adding that and clarifying about the kitties. So thank you very much. All right, that concludes the deliberation on our items. At this point, I would ask for a count on an approval of the form of the agenda.
Make a motion that we approve the form of the agenda. Do you want all of the changes or anything at this point, or you're going to get to that?
No, that'd be consent.
Are we good as expressed legal? As expressed is fine. Okay, fair enough. All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Now that we have an approved agenda, we'd accept public comments on agenda items only. So the items that have been discussed here, comments on agenda items only.
I'm Mary Scherer at 5276 Amber Hills Road. To beat a dead horse to death, but the money for the library is not handled the same way as the money, because there's been some expenditures. You said it's going to go to the PBA, but it's not being shown on the capital budget. But on the civic center, on the municipal complex, there has been money spent, and yet you're still showing that money on the capital budget. I'm with Ms. Cuellar. This money is missing on the capital budget. And I know you don't have to answer that. And the mayor has said, I'm just saying it's irregular.
Thank you.
It's irregular. Thank you.
Any other comments on agenda items only? With no further comments on any agenda items, we'll go ahead and move through it. First item to vote on, if we could look at item number 7, that was, I'm sorry, I apologize, I got ahead of myself. Approval of consent agenda.
Make a motion we approve the consent agenda with postponing item 2, moving item 7, and then with the changes as mentioned.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. That being said, we're going to go ahead and move down to item number 7. If we could move resolution 24R161.
Make a motion that 2024 RS 161 be moved.
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do we have a no?
No.
Okay, and no exceptions. All right. Moving on down to our public hearing. If we could go ahead and get a movement on 2024 R171.
I make a motion that resolution 2024-R-171 be approved.
Second.
Motion and a second by Councilman Sims. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. And then ordinance process, if someone would jump out on that.
Make a motion, ordinance 2024-18 be considered read.
Second.
Motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion, we suspend all rules that would prevent the immediate consideration of ordinance 2024-18.
Second.
Motion, second, roll call, Councilman London?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes.
Councilman Box?
Yes.
Councilman Sims?
Yes.
And myself, yes.
Make a motion that ordinance 2024-18 be approved and adopted.
Second.
Motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you all for that. This concludes our council evening session. Thank you very much for joining this evening. Motion to adjourn,
Motion.
seconded.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Y'all have a